Hello everyone. So you've already heard most of the important stuff. My part is kind of like, the last part of the evening news when they show you the cute animal. So that's going to be me today. I thought I'm going to make it more lighthearted, less academical, because that's kind of my job. I haven't been in academia for 10 years now. So my name is Jirka. I'm your cute animal for today. I have a YouTube channel that's called Jirka vysvětluje věci, which translates strictly to Jirka explains things, which is what I do on said channel. I have a love-hate relationship with AI. I use it sometimes, but I find it unreliable, at least the models that are available to me. I've used AI for a few occasions. If you've seen what I do, I have a historical series which I started creating about two and a half years ago, when the generative models weren't as popular as they are now. And I thought that the usage of AI would be great to fill the gaps, because history is often accompanied with the fact that it's not really well recorded as in audiovisual materials. So I thought, well, I'll use generative AI to do that. But I would never use a language model to write a script for me or something like that, because, well, to be fair, I've tried it and it was horrible. So I thought I would use the weirdest example of AI-generated content that I could find. It's also probably the dumbest example that I found, which is the owner of X, Elon Musk, using this picture of Kamala Harris during the previous or the last US elections. Can you just tell me, have you seen this? I've used a few examples that I thought everyone would probably have seen. If you haven't, you're welcome. I have no idea why he did this. None of the US journalists have any idea why he did this. My humble opinion would be that he created this and just did it as a joke, but, well, he knew that he can mask it as a joke, because if you think that nobody would believe that this is a real photo, then you're wrong, because there were people believing that this is a real photo. Also, you probably have seen this, right? This was a fake picture of Donald Trump getting arrested. Also, kind of, I think published as a joke, maybe, who knows. And you've seen this. I have no idea what this is. I put it in the presentation just to confuse you. It's Donald Trump in the hood. Right? That's what it is. I don't know why he's there, but he's there. But this picture, I really like this one, because I'm just going to take my water. Because this is not an AI-generated picture, but people believed it is, because someone told them that it is. Because there was just too many people waiting for Harrison Waltz at the airport. So there was a viral claim that this picture was altered, using AI. And why am I telling you this? Well, the reason is that, and you already said it, so I'm gonna repeat what you said. It just makes us believe that anything can be faked, right? To an extent, when we see a real picture, we believe that it was faked as well. And I know this from my personal experience, because people think that I am AI. I've been asked if I'm AI, probably dozens of times. People think my voice is AI, my face is AI. Sometimes people write comments saying, I've seen him, he's not AI. And I have to deal with this on a daily basis. I don't know why, because my videos are not really that... I don't know what would give off the impression that they are AI, apart from the fact that I edit them with my knowledge, the best of my knowledge. And what I also do is that I uncover scams. And you might ask yourself, what does this have to do with democracy? I will get to that in a minute. This is an AI picture that I created of Brad Pitt using being homeless and just telling you that something is a scam, because I can do that. It took me 30 seconds. But what do we have? Well, I mean, if you believe that that was a real Brad Pitt, what would happen to you if you, for example, sent money to Brad Pitt because he texted you a picture of himself and said, "Hey, I'm in trouble, I need some money." You, first of all, would be made fun of, because no one with 2 brain cells can believe something like that, right? And this is something that I deal with fairly frequently. It's called secondary victimization. It's when you have AI scams that are so unbelievable and someone believes them, we think that that person doesn't deserve to have a vote, or the right to vote. That person is the, epitome of a stupid person. And you can see it in the media fairly often, on social media, in the comments. But also police are not innocent in this. Sometimes you could hear stories of people being scammed, often using some kind of an AI tool, and then coming to the police, and the police just telling them, "This is absolutely stupid, how could you do this?" And they were, victims of secondary victimization. Again, I just had to, this is what it looks like, right? When you, never mind. There was a French woman who did this. She sent a lot of money to Brad Pitt, who was not real. And she was mocked online. I mean, she lost all her money. And on top of that, she basically became a victim of online bullying. Then she became homeless and suffered with severe depression, which sounds about right, right? If you're a victim several times because you were a victim the first time, it will make you somehow at least a little depressed. And if you're someone like this, and I ask you, what kind of trust do you have in the institutions? What do you say? Like, I've been scammed, I've been bullied because I was scammed, the police told me I was stupid. What kind of trust do I have for the institutions? None. Now imagine that the scam was not stupid. Now imagine the scam was your own mother calling you, telling you that I'm in trouble, I need money. Her voice, her phone number, everything matched. Now you send her the money, and then it's gone, because it was not your mother. It was an AI creation using several models that allow to do this. Then what happens next if you do this and people tell you, well, you're stupid, you should have had some kind of precaution to not become a victim? So I think this is a point that I wanted to make, even though it doesn't have much to do with US elections, because I talked to the president about this like a few days ago. This is not a flex, I really did talk to him about this. And we kind of came to the conclusion that this is one of the most important topics currently that I can actually somehow tackle. What I do is I'm trying to educate other creators to use AI in a way that's, ethical. But I can't, teach the scammers to use the AI in a more ethical way. But I think that when people who make online content like I do are more educated in its upsides, downsides, and how it's being used, and maybe we can create some kind of a codex for, like in the media, for example, newsrooms do have this, for online creators who create by themselves. I think that's the first steps, one of the first steps that we can do, because if we honestly come to a point where not only can you not trust what you see online, but you can't trust your institutions to protect you and not bully you after you become a victim, then, I mean, that's not a future that I would want to be a part of. So yeah, that's my cute animal for the end of this great presentation. Thank you to all my colleagues for your inputs. If you have any questions, I will be here for at least a part of the next hour. And if you have any questions now, just ask. No? Yeah, okay.
When you talked about the codex, or I don't know how
Yeah.
that could be implemented for online creators, such as journalists have, like how could that be? I cannot really imagine, because even for journalists, you know, some of them respected most of the like serious media do's, then there's some people who might not. Like, how could you do that in the online platforms that are like, you know, based on individuals doing it? And I'm not saying it's a bad idea, just...
No, I understand, well, a few months ago we created an association which any creator can enter, and it provides, among other things, for example, like a legal support for the creator, but it also requires of him a certain standard. So he can be part of the association, but then he has to, you know, abide by the standards, which are mostly ethical. Using AI is one of them, and not only one of them. There's also like gambling advertisements, etc. So, but he doesn't have to. If he does something that's against these sets of rules, he will simply cease his presence in the association. That's it. But I still think there's a tiny bit of power to kind of say you're doing something wrong, and we can, you know, the entire collective can somehow, I don't know, create slight pressure on that person and say, this is not what we agreed on. Yeah.
The pressure can be even stronger if you are a lawyer, or if you are a member of the chambers, or lawyers, or and you root membership, then you hardly find a job.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
But I'm afraid that like people are still gonna watch people even if they're not ethical. So that's kind of part of why it's hard for me to imagine. But it's definitely something.
It's like the first step. I mean, it's not going to be, it's never going to be perfect. Yeah.
But maybe then you can argue with the social media platforms like to ban certain authors just based on these kind of like.
Yeah.
Or you can just work with positive incentives. You can, I mean, I understand social media even less than technology, but I think there is a lot of cooperation among people, and you choose with whom you want to cooperate, and that usually is a win-win, increases visibility, introduces your audience, and that is something that the creators control themselves, and so you will just work together with some people and not others. And so yes, of course, you don't prevent that people are exposed, but as the algorithm rewards numbers, I think you can like crowd them out into, these people have always been there. I mean, they have always, they just used to draw it on the walls, or I don't know, wrote on little pamphlets before the printing press was introduced. It's a tool. The idea, the conspiracies, the disinformation, the fraud is the same.
Is there any other question?
As far as I know, there exist tools based on AI systems that are able to monitor communication and to discover fake news, misinformation. So I think the future is in this way to improve, while AI will be improving, so it can be used to meet these bad results.
I've had a conversation about this like half a year ago when someone compared this to the arms race in order to come to a future where we're not you know, there. we would have to have the neural networks that search for AI created content or AI transformed content to be ahead before the ones that create it. So it's kind of an arms race in this way.
Queen hypothesis.
Yes.
Fair to add that at our university there is some EU project, am I right, David, about the fact checking that identifies the anomalies or detect at least the suspicious content, but what do you need at the very end to compare it with the original resources, the respective, like not only the Wikipedia but many others, but then need to be somebody that will, let's say, the identified anomalies to confirm yes or no. Yeah, you can see it even on Aktuálně or wherever that fact-checking service exists, but it still needs the people to support it. Yeah, so it's algorithmic power, but it's not solving everything. There is the help of AI to detect and the people that are working as fact checkers in media.
A question: whether you know the person who is behind the Trump getting arrested picture? Whether you know the specific person?
Oh yeah, there was a specific person.
Yes, it's his name is Elliot Higgins. He's the founder of.
Oh yeah, I know him. Yes.
He's the founder of Bellingcat, and he was doing this as an illustration of how
Mhm.
you can actually do fake news. And he was doing it as a critique of the generation models and how.
And they arrested him for it.
And how badly governed they are. And he has some very interesting remarks to what you're trying to achieve. I suggest you look him up. He disappeared from X. He's now in Ruska.
Yeah.
And he just recently commented on this concept of disordered discourse. And this is basically describing the dynamic between social media and US government and influencers, and how they get locked in this mechanism of going further and further to the extreme. And that actually the system itself locks them in. So I highly recommend
Thank you.
looking at this content for your next projects.
Thank you.
Is the guy the member of the Steve Bannon, let's say original community? Steve Bannon was the architect of the first election of Donald Trump.
No, quite on the contrary. He's the one who was investigating from open source intelligence the shutdown of the plane above Ukraine, the Dutch plane. He was supplying the evidence to the Dutch court who committed corruption. So he's like on extremely pro-freedom and pro-democracy side of the conflict.
They offer free courses, so we can also
Yeah,
snoop too. Some in pandemic.
Let me add a note, maybe a warning regarding the automatic detection of fake news and false information, because AI can be misused very easily to support some kind of opinion, point of view, and in many cases the truth is ambiguous. So it's not just truth or not truth, it's point of view, opinion, appreciation or something like that. So in many cases people should be able themselves to learn what's true and what is not. And in these cases, the AI may do the bad work of excluding these alternative opinions.
Yeah. It's often.
Warning.
Yeah.
Alternative opinions, it's very strange to me, but okay. So secure conscience.
Yes, there's one more question.
He is onto a good point. I mean, fact checkers is not always objective, right? So you risk jeopardizing the tenet of freedom of speech and allowing people to express themselves by allowing every new government in power to censor information that may turn out to be true in the future as well. That happened in many cases in the pandemic. So it's a balance of allowing free expression and not patronizing your citizens, right? This is whether or not we want to have a form of an authoritarian, a state that doesn't allow you to express your opinion or do that through voting. Like the example of Romania, some people are concerned with the liberal direction that points to you. You're kind of assuming 23% of the voters are completely clueless, that maybe they actually had a pro-Russian view that's maybe pro-peace. Like you don't know exactly what, that you're just discrediting them out of hand. So it's kind of for some people it looks very illiberal to ban and discredit elections, whatever may be the real fake news or influence behind the scenes. This is the question, if you want to have sort of a nanny state or allow people to be individuals, because a lot of the solutions are good to educate people on AI literacy and general literacy in media, but
but the elections were not abolished because people voted for whoever. The elections were run again, so they can, and we have seen that the numbers are very close. The elections, no state can allow that foreign power intervenes in its election. That's why the crime is treason. I mean, the countries are, I mean, that is the world, the global order is based on countries that have their own autonomy. So this is, I mean, it may be an unpopular decision, but it doesn't mean that nobody thinks they are stupid. The only thing on which the court decided was that they had proven evidence that there was an intervention of foreign power, and the people can look. Democracy. In democracy, we can be stupid. This is completely fine to be stupid. We are free to be stupid in a democracy. It's not free for another country to manipulate people. You can manipulate them within your own country, but you cannot go and manipulate others because we are sovereign nation. So I think that it's really important to like a lot of people. I understand that the Romanian elections are like a Rorschach test for many people. It can mean many things to many people, but I think you can make a narrative of sovereignty, of independence. It has nothing about the people. They will go to elections again and they can vote for whoever, but the money will have to be only Romanian money. It's like you cannot come to, like, if I go to, there is a football stadium here. I have absolutely never played soccer before, but if I go there with a gun, shoot probably rather just to be on a secure side, like everybody from the opposing teams, and then say I won 11-0. It's not, because every game has rules, and so do elections.
Well, if I may add just one more thing. I understand the point about the fact-checking. You said that there's a danger, or that some things may just turn out to be true later, which is completely fine, but you can't claim that they are true before, because there's in English we use what's it called? I can't remember the English words, but it doesn't matter. You need to have a proof for anything, and if that proof comes later, then you work with that proof. But if you're talking about things like during the pandemic, some people said, well, it's obvious that it escaped from a lab. You're free to say that, but if there's no proof, I can still say, well, there is no proof. So you can't claim that it's true if there is no proof. But it depends on how you work with it, if the proof comes later. But to say that I was right the whole time, that's simply, that's not true. You weren't right before because there was no proof. You're right now, but if there was no proof, what would you base that saying on before, right? Do you know what I mean? No, I meant it's a saying for if you have enough evidence above a certain point of I can't remember the phrase. It's okay. It's from I think it's a legislative thing. Do
the balance of if you're silencing debate on that specific example,
yeah.
It's highly relevant for policy going forward, right? Whether or not the U.S. is funding labs for enhanced viruses in China, it's very interesting. But if you don't have evidence, it makes sense. But if you're silencing it, this notion that the government can never be wrong, essentially, that's these institutions and maybe the CDC. I understand what you're saying, but it was fact-checked in a way that made it sound like it was wrong and silenced debate on that topic, for example.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of unlucky in this particular example when you say that it's wrong because there's no evidence. It can still be wrong if there's no evidence, and then turned out to be right if the evidence appears. I think, but the most important thing is how you talk about it. You know, during the whole time, you have to say, when someone says something's wrong because there is no evidence, it's not impersonal. It's not a personal attack on the claimant or the person who claims this statement. It's just simply brushing it off as saying, I can't talk about it because there is no evidence, you know. So we can't talk about something that the evidence doesn't exist for, but we can talk about it after it appears. I know it's a good example because there have been studies, independent studies, saying that it's not completely unlikely for the virus to appear from a lab, but it still is not proven by any means. So we can talk about it and we can acknowledge that it is a possibility, but it doesn't make it right retrospectively.
Coming back to the topic, democracy,
Yeah.
I like the point about the balance of freedom and security. We had discussion with Petra at the very beginning, freedom of speech and so on, but also the fact checking for me, something is really like why you can have alternative opinion, you can have hypothesis, and you can say, I think, because of these facts, can you check them? But you are candidate in
Spousty debaty. Ty už nezůstaneš do konce, půjdeš na
Já jsem právě myslel, že chcete jich už teďka, ale já nevím, jestli do těch 6 budu mít ještě čas. My máme zítra celý den zkoušku na koncert, takže mám ještě spoustu věcí, které potřebuji stihnout dneska.
Myslím, že ono skončíme tak jako do hodinky.
So, do we have any other questions before the break?
A pak půjdeme, no.
So, thank you for the, yeah, there is one more.
Yeah, I'm sorry to move a little bit to previous topic, but in comparison to the Romanian elections, how much should we expect something like that will happen in Czech Republic?
I don't follow TikTok, so I can't really tell how it's there happening or not. But I think it might happen. We have to have our attention focused, and yeah, that's pretty much it. It can happen, for sure.
By the way, the elections in Albania are very close, and I think that the candidate with the similar rules is, let's say, highly, it's almost it can repeat even in Romania again, that the candidate with the similar opinions, support, but we will see, it's ongoing.
Because as Jiří is saying, the bet is for the trust in institutions. And if you cancel the elections, we can be betting ourselves on the shoulder how we solve the issue, but the people who voted for the guy, they will not trust in the institutions. We will not fix the issue. And it's going to stay in the society, and the democracy is going to be damaged either way. So only reacting to the disinformation.
Yeah, but if you are a rule of law,
of course,
you cannot, like the Constitutional Court of Romania could not act differently if they have evidence of foreign interference. So what? So it's like between a rock and a hard place, but you have to act as a rule of law country, and if you have a law that there can be no foreign interference in election, you have to.
Because I wanted to get there, it's absolutely correct that they reacted the way they did, but they still lost the fight. There's no winning for them because it's too late. The trust in the institution is going to be damaged either way. So only the preemptiveness, only the education is something that is actually going to work and is actually going to protect the society and liberal democracy. Because liberal democracy, its let's say its reputation was damaged. You know, this is being used as a reputational damage story all over the social media in liberal democracies, and there will be people who will be believing it. So only from my point of view, I haven't seen a better method than what the EK is doing so far. Maybe there will be some in the future, but just basically the education on how this information works, how human mind works, what kind of feelings they are trying to stir up in you when they're working with this campaigns. This is the only way, basically. Vaccination and the pollution that we were talking about, but this, even though it's correct to uphold the rule of law, we can't present it as, hey, we are winning here, or we are basically winning the fight, because this is going to come to the next election, and we're already seeing it.
But I don't think anybody presents it as winning the fight. This is like, it's the same discussion like this book, where there is a lot of presumption made about the other side. It's called the strawman argument. And it's not like that. It's not a victory. It's a difficult situation, And I think that you cannot save democracy by undemocratic means, so you cannot act as the other side. But at the same time, we know it's true that the enemies of democracy are going to use whatever they can and twist it whichever way they can, because they are unconstrained by the rules and unconstrained by truth and justifies the means. This is nothing new in open society and its enemies. This is called the paradox of tolerance. That if we, as an open society, tolerate the intolerant, this is the self-destruction mechanism in democracy. But we cannot make ourselves less democratic because there is this danger. The phone is ringing inside of the house. It is a struggle. There are many ways. People try different ways, but I don't think anybody in Romania have seen this as a victory. They were in a completely unprecedented situation, and if the candidate from populist radical right wins, then it should be actually a proof that nobody was silenced, that you want just to have a free and fair elections, and they can be won by whoever gets more votes in a fair competition.
I like the discussion, and it seems it's moving us to the second part of the conference, that humans are still humans, the technology is changing, history is not repeating, it rhymes, and let's meet here in, let's say, 3:45, and we can use the 10 minutes for the barbecue break or the discussion. So see you in 10 minutes.